interested in that end goal of holiness. Now, some of us, you've been running the race a long time. You take seriously the call to pursue holiness. You take seriously what God says when He says, fix your eyes on that goal and strain towards it. But you know what? It's been a while and you grow weary. You grow discouraged. You get tired in your walk with God. Maybe it's the circumstances in your life. You've been diagnosed with an illness. And the doctors say there's not a lot we can do. We can kind of manage it, but you're going to live with this now for the rest of your life. Or you're taking care of a parent, and you're doing everything you can to show love and care for them, but it takes a toll on you. Your marriage is hitting a rocky patch. And you come home every day and you're just bracing yourself for more quarreling and fighting. Or school isn't going so well. You're sort of one bad grade away from failing out. Or your job is uncertain, or the list goes on and on and on. And when we as Christians go through these moments, it does something to our soul. You start to wonder, where's God in all of this? You pray and you pray and you pray and you pray. God doesn't seem to answer. And you start asking yourself, does God care about what I'm going through? Why won't He come in and fix this? And pretty soon you become that kid who's rounding the last lap of the track and they're exhausted. And I want you to know, if that's where you're at today, then God has tremendous encouragement. I want to show you what Paul says in verse 12, first of all. I mentioned this, but I didn't really unpack it. I press on to take hold of that for which Christ Jesus took hold of me. Do you notice the order of events there? Paul doesn't say, I'm going to press on so that I can win the prize. I'm going to press on so that I can take hold of Christ. I'm going to try and exert myself and try, and then hopefully I'll win. No, Paul says, Jesus grabbed me first. Jesus claimed me first. Jesus laid down His life for me first. And so living the Christian life, pursuing holiness and pursuing Christ-likeness is a response for us, to what Jesus has done first. And Jesus pursued us all the way to a cross where He stood in our place and died in our place so that we might be eternally secure with Him. And that means Jesus doesn't let go. He grabs hold of us and He won't let us go. No matter how many times you may fail, no matter how many times you may fall short, no matter how many times that little voice in the back of your head says, you know what, you've messed up too many times. You're no good. God can't use you anymore. You've given into that temptation once too many. Paul says, no. Christ Jesus took hold of you first. And He's not going to let go. In fact, look at verse 21 now. Jesus, who by the power that enables Him to bring everything under His control, will transform our lowly bodies so that they will be like His glorious body. Last week on Easter Sunday, we looked at that theme in greater detail. We looked at how the promise of the resurrection means that what happened to Jesus will happen to us. So when Jesus stood up and walked out of that tomb and resurrected in a new and perfected body, we can know that that will happen to us. And Paul is building on that theme here. He's saying that the very same power that brought Jesus back from the dead is working in your life today. That power is making you new today. It's ultimately God's power through Christ that is perfecting us and renewing us and sanctifying us. Now, it doesn't mean we all sit back and do nothing while God sort of does His work on us. No, it means We pursue that goal, but the one who brings about the result is God through Jesus Christ. That's tremendously encouraging. It ought to be. For anyone who's ever become weary, anyone who's ever become discouraged, anyone who's ever wondered, am I ever going to make it to the end of to the finish line? Yeah, you will. Not because you have all the strength in the world, but because God got a hold of you and He holds on to you and will not let go. I think back to that track meet that I was at Salem Academy a week or two ago. And then I start thinking, so where are we in this race? Where are we running? If you're the one that is kind of there, but you don't want to be there, yeah, you're a Christian, yeah, you're on the team, but you just don't want to run, then take to heart what Paul is saying. We're not going to find true happiness apart